Hello everyone, hello fans of Radio Bocconi. We are here with Mark and Isaac, who are two of the members of Epica, which is one of the greatest metal bands existing at the time. They hail they hail from the Netherlands. They have been in the business now for 14 years, and they play symphonic metal with all its subgenres and influences. Now let's start about talking about the new album. Which is the new direction you have taken, and what has changed for Epica this time? What has in turn stayed the same, maybe?
I take the mic, or yeah. Well, it's still Epica, of course. So never change a winning team, I would say. But of course, since the last album, it was kind of a new start for the band because we had a new producer, new studio, new way of working within the band. So yeah, that being said, it was a great album. People received it very well, but we also saw some things that could be done better. And how I look at it is that you had three major points for this new album, which improved the result. And the first thing that comes to mind is the metal band. If you listen to the album, you'll definitely hear that the metal band is more prominent, and we worked a lot more on getting that right, more rehearsals with just guitar, bass and drums to get the bases of the songs really intense and good. Just without the orchestration, it sounds already like a cool metal band. And so then the second thing is the orchestration. This time we decided to do everything live, so no more samples, and that's something you hear right away from the intro on. You'll hear that, and you can never top that with samples, even if you have the best samples out there. So makes a huge difference, a lot more organic and dynamic. And then the third thing is the vocals. They blend in really well with the music. It was more of a group process, I would say. Like in the beginning, Mark, Simone, Sasha Pet, the old producer, and Jules, the new producer, were sitting in Germany to go over vocal lines, and afterwards also Koen and me did a lot of suggestions what we could do better. Koen, of course, is making all the choir arrangements, so he kind of needs to be in constant discussion about how to do that. And so those 3 points are, I think, the main difference with the previous album. Do you agree, Mark?
Yeah. I couldn't have said it any better. You should ask this question more often.
So nice, very nice and complete explanations. How was the album conceived? Was there a moment where you get the idea? Let's talk about the holographic principle, about this this topic, this maybe advent of virtual reality. All the theories which talk about the universe, which may be one of many. Was there a moment you could describe?
First, we started talking about it's time for a new album. And that moment, we first thought, wow, already it feels so. We just finished with the Quantum Enigma, but then we realized, it's about time, and everybody was feeling inspired for writing new songs. And much later in the process, the concept was introduced, and because we write first music and then we add lyrics on the music, and everybody felt excited about that topic, and it grew even because it was first one of the possible topics, and then it grew into being the red line on the album. And this might be one of a million universes, parallel universes, or this might be a hologram. It's very fascinating, and in the beginning it sounds really wicked and weird, but anyway, we are on a little marble going with huge speed in space around, and that's already wicked enough. So if you approach this with an open mind, and a new world opens up.
So with your album, you proceed in a sort of pursuit for what is real, what is not. Do you feel like you maybe have found an answer to that question, to the question like, is this world, is this universe a hologram? What is real?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, in whatever book you read, whatever spiritual book you read, whatever scientific topic you study, in the end, it always comes down to one thing: what is real, and that is emotions and love. What you feel for other people, other living beings, for each other. It always comes down to that. So I think the truth in the end is always love.
That's a really philosophical answer, and thanks. Really interesting answer. You said before that this was one of the many possible options for the lyrics and for the themes. Other possible philosophical topics, areas in which you would like to, into which you would like to delve in the future.
Yeah, the funny thing is now we don't know yet. What in 3 years will be the new topic of an album. It depends on the music. It depends on what we are reading about, what things we are watching at that time. It's always a natural process. We don't need to force anything. It comes basically automatically. You just have to open up for it. So at this moment, no idea yet. That's to be sure.
You said in one of the previous interviews that you are glad that there are also new people from all ages and different musical backgrounds which are coming to actually see you. So that means you have a future, in your words. So what does the future have in store for Epica? Are there any general contaminations you would like to explore, any new direction, anything which you felt you kept in store for the future and you have not still included in one of the previous albums, one of your previous efforts? Both.
You can do the music part of it.
Well, as far as the music goes, we never really. It's not like Mark said. Also with the topic, it's not like we sit together and what will we do. It's the same with the music. We never really sit together and decide what the new album should be like. It's more like we have 5 songwriters. All the guys in the band are writing songs, and that means 5 individuals with different background, different influences, different instruments, because Koen, our keyboard player, has a different way of writing. If I play guitar or I come up with guitar riffs, it's gonna be different than if you play with a piano to come up with new ideas. So we already have that luxury position that we have 5 people giving input, and that's even before we start giving input on each other's songs. So eventually, whatever we do, the end result always sounds like Epica for some reason, and well, for that reason, I guess. And yeah, so every album, again, me personally, I want to try different approaches, but still with my own background and my own influences in there, you know. So maybe along the way, let's say the new album we're gonna start writing in, I don't know, 2 weeks, I don't know, but anyway, so, but in the near future or in the future we will start writing again. And maybe I will find a cool band at that time, like, oh, they triggered me. Or maybe, you know, for the last album, I even had inspiration from just a commercial on TV. I heard that song and the beat and the vibe, and I thought, oh, that's cool. It wasn't metal at all, but I just turned it into a metal song. So thanks, company, for the inspiration. But I can't tell. I still know, but I won't tell. It's for all the fans out there to find out. So yeah, I mean, probably you always try a new approach, and it's the same with the lyrics, it's the same with the music, but if you blend everything together, Simone and the way, you know, it's still metal and it's still kind of Epica, the choirs, the orchestration. So yeah, it's difficult to tell what we in the future will find important to change in our sound, if there would have to be a change. So yeah. as far as music goes, me personally, it's not something I'm really thinking about. It's more you pick up the guitar, you go in your home studio, and you see what you can come up with. And half of it ends up in the garbage bin, and the other half you use. And that, you know, for me, for the music, that's how it goes. And now you'll hear all about the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics can be short again. Yeah, as we have no idea yet, but it can be that we start exploring a completely new thing. It can also be the next step in science, as long as it's interesting.
It's a second step from
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it can be a third continuous step, but it can. Everything is open, and that's the good thing also about Epica. We're not bounded to anything.
No rules.
Yeah, we just do what feels good.
At that time, yeah.
So, about the symphonic metal scene, where is symphonic metal going according to you? Because there are more and more bands being set up each day, and can you maybe describe the scene as mature, or are there any territories to be explored according to you for symphonic metal bands and gothic and all the influences?
Yeah, I think that many bands kept developing themselves, and these other bands are still around. There were also bands who started repeating themselves, and they slowly vanished. And so I think the strongest bands survived. And it's nowadays hard for new bands to make it to the next level. There's so many bands out there, and things are going so fast that people are listening one day and the next day already listening to something else. We are lucky that we have a steady basis, so we have this fans that won't let us down. But new bands, they are facing a lot of more difficulties with this, because it's really hard to make it to the next level. So I'm not sure where it's going with the symphonic metal. But I think that the bands who are still out there, they are still eager to renew and refresh themselves.
So, in this area, is there any band or musician whom do you particularly like, or you'd like to work with, or you'd like to rework with if you've worked with them in the past? In other words, what do you listen? What is the music you listen to each day? What influences you on a daily basis?
Anything can be an influence, but if I just look back, being 16 or something, I listened to bands like Pantera, Machine Head, Sepultura, Rage Against the Machine, Dream Theater. I was supposed to go on tour with them, but they pulled out. They thought we were better than them, I guess. I don't know. But I'm still a fan, you know. I like their latest album as well. So, yeah, that kind of stuff, you know, very guitar-oriented stuff, punchy. And it kind of opened my whole world for the metal music. And those bands are still a huge influence. And then every now and then, because now getting older, it's much harder to get impressed, you know, like you hear a lot of new bands and you're like, you know, yeah, it's okay, but it's not, I don't have the same feeling as if I was like a teenager, which is normal. But so there's not many new bands being added to that list of favorite bands. One of them is a pretty much unknown band, Aeternam. It's a Canadian kind of death black metal band, also pretty symphonic actually. That was, I think, maybe the last album that really blew me away. That was very refreshing. And then, you know, I know that Dimmu Borgir is working on something new, so yeah, maybe that would be a cool band to do a collaboration with, because they also kind of work with the orchestra and all that. They just take it more extreme, yeah, that, or if Dimebag was still around, Pantera or something, but that's, you know, a wild dream, maybe in heaven someday.
Yeah, my biggest inspiration, especially for the Holographic Principle, was the Italian singer Neck. Yeah, yeah, also for you, because yeah, you've almost forgot to mention.
I like his guitar riffs.
Yeah,
Really awesome.
Besides that, it's also back in the days I was also much influenced by Machine Head as well, Gorefest, a Dutch death metal band. I listened to Megadeth a lot, and nowadays a band that still surprises me is Opeth. Because I thought the last years there would be no band that could really surprise me anymore, and Opeth did. But also I like Catatonia, I like these kinds of bands, and we're happy to have them on our festival. And so there are still bands that nowadays, even though metal exists already for quite some years, and basically everything has been done, most of it at least, still there's some bands out there who do something that you think, wow, that's really cool. And as long as that happens, the metal is alive. Yeah.
You mentioned your music festival. How did the idea come to your mind? Why did you decide to set up a music festival?
Well, it started with the 10-year show retrospect. Actually, we already had the idea, and then for that opportunity, we started thinking about retrospect first. So it was a sold-out show, 10 years of Epica, and a huge show with orchestra. And so because it was sold out and people seemed pretty interested in our band, we thought the next step is maybe to do a normal show, but then add friends from across the world who joined us on tour, or which we saw backstage somewhere on a festival or something, you know. And yeah, it just kind of happened. We found the right partners for that, and last year was the first step in that, and it turned out really great. And so we decided to do a second one in Holland, and then add Epic Metal Fest in Brazil. First time in South America for the festival. Because also there we have a huge following, and yeah, you want to give some little extra and not do the same trick again. Also as a company, because it's music business, right? So you need fresh ideas, new perspectives, and it seemed like a cool idea. And it's going great. Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. I also have not much to add to that. It's great to have your own festival. It's a long time dream, and indeed, due to retrospect, we have the how you say that. What is the word for that?
Tell me.
In Dutch, yeah, even in Dutch, I forgot the word. The I don't know.
We have
Whatever. Fine. Awesome. So speaking about live performances, let's talk about your tour. Where will you go? Tell us some more details. Is there any country which will be for the first time touched by Epica? Any new places? Is there something you would like to introduce in your famously explosive lives? Some, I don't know, some new techniques, some new maybe guest musicians or something?
Countries, one of the countries where we haven't been yet, because we have played now, I think, like 60 something countries, 64 or close to 60, and Japan is not yet one of them, and that should happen now. Finally, we heard great stories about playing Japan, so and North Korea, of course. Almost nobody went to North Korea yet. Let us be the first metal band. maybe sooner or later the country opens up a little bit, and then bam, Epica, North Korea. But it's a lot of pyro. Yeah, and guest musicians. Yeah, with that also we wait what songs we have, and if a song asks for something extra, a specific singer, then we go and approach the singer. But it didn't happen for a long time already. The Holographic Principle, we have one guest singer. It's the daughter of Koen, our keyboard player, and because that intro was asking for something extra, and it did fit perfect. But that's also with other songs. If you really think like this could be great with this singer, we go out there and ask. But if it's not the case, we're not going to force somebody into a song just to have a famous name on the album.
So unfortunately,
The tour. Yeah, we coming to Milan early next year. You asked about the tour, so we also have that. So hope to see you all there. And yeah, other than that, we'll be in the US. We have the festivals coming up. Then the US, then Europe with Milan, then festivals, South America, the whole lot, and hopefully Japan. Yeah.
And the word I was looking for was experience.
The experience.
thank you. So unfortunately, we've come to an end. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Just in time. Yes, we would have waited for you. That's not an issue. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your really interesting answers, and thank you for your music. Ultimately, we'll see you in Milan, and thank you to all of you for listening to us.
Radio Bocconi, play it loud!